How you doing? There can't be many teams in rugby league history that go into a premiership as favourites after only one round. But that's exactly where I'm putting the Mackay Cutters, who I'm about to study now on your behalf. My name is Addison. Thank you once again for joining us on Queensland League Scene for this analysis segment. I am the owner of rugbyleaguecoach.com.au, and if you like what you hear or watch today, please take a look at that website. Guys, it's great to be doing this for you again in 2023. As always, I'm not going to go easy on any of these teams. If there's a weakness, I'm going to try and spot it just in case the opposition fancy their chances a week later. Likewise, if something brilliant is happening, then yes, I'm going to highlight it and praise it wherever possible. But look, the Mackay Cutters to me don't look like they need much help at the minute. Their coach, Marco Peters, has done a fantastic job already in the off-season, and they've won their first game 30 points to 8 at the home of the Wynnum Manly Seagulls. I mean, who goes there and wins by that score in their first ever game? Last year, most of these players were playing for the Gold Stars, and they won the Premiership quite emphatically in the grand final there. So you're well placed if you think they're going to be there or thereabouts again. So what I've done is taken a few defensive sets from the start of the game and also from the start of the second half. And let's see if we can't find somewhere this week's opponent's Tweed might be able to exploit, because they've got to go to Mackay to face this fearsome outfit. Let me share my screen, please. Wynnum are attacking left to right and Mackay are defending. Before I go any further, we are looking at the Mackay team defending in the maroon jerseys there. But I do want to bring into play this attacker here from Wynnum. Look at the way she's carrying the ball with two hands. She is doing that because it's been obviously coached into her and the team, but also it keeps the defenders on the heels in theory. And just before the collision, she tucks it under her wing and isolates one defender. Now, all the rest now, we're looking at defence. So that's why I just give you that little attacking tidbit there, because she's isolated one defender, and that one defender there, I can't get the number, is tackling with the chest area. Their body is quite upright. It's quite a poor collision, actually. And this is Mackay's first tackle of their existence in the BMD Premiership. The first tackler in has been the first one to fall off, and number 6, and I think it's number 3, are still quite upright in terms of trying to control that tackle. And they land on the attacker, but they jump off her like she is on fire. Look how quickly they got off. And the other thing I want to look at there is the way they got off. So we're going back into the collision again. Now, in this circumstance, I would expect possibly the 3 to stay on for longer, and this lady here with the blue headgear to get off first because they are closest. Instead, all 4 get off at the same time. So it's a really poor defensive ruck. Now, what I'm suggesting is Mackay need to be good at front on tackles to dominate collisions. So conversely, that means what Tweed need to do is make sure that Mackay don't get them front on in defence. So lots of movement off the ball, lots of footwork at the line, because once they get a good collision in, you'll see there's a bit more of an S-shaped body here from number 10. There's a lot more control in this collision, and the Wynnum number 2 is completely controlled to ground. The unload is good, and the ruck is slow. So we've seen 2 rucks. One has been a poor collision, and then that has led to a very fast ruck. The second one has been a good collision and a good defensive ruck. So that's 2 rucks, 2 different things. Wynnum move across the field, and there's another poor collision on number 8 there from Wynnum. 2 chesty tackles. There's no real control in the ruck. So we've had 3 tackles. One of them has been a good collision, and that's ended up in good ruck control. So what I'm saying for the Tweed attack is that you've got to get passive tackles as much as you can, because when you watch this set in its entirety, you'll see why. So I'm going to retreat again. Watch this whole set in its entirety now, please. So poor rucks, poor ruck control, good collision and better ruck control. But then the third one is poor collision and poor control. On the back of it, poor collision, poor control. And look at the outcome. Because of the quick play, the ball, Wynnum do a +1. And now we're looking at the edge defence of the Mackay Cutters. So if I was just to show you this and say that this Mackay team are the favourites for the Premiership, you'd wonder why. Because their defence obviously needs a lot of work. But obviously their attack can rack up the points. But just from this freeze frame here, you'll see that the edge defenders are at 6s and 7s. This defender here has turned in quite significantly to tackle the number 6. Probably didn't need to. I'll go back and we'll watch it all again. It is tough sometimes with the angle of the camera to really read what defenders should have done. But what I see there is that number 11, and I think it's the 13, outside her, should have pushed from the inside and spoke and talked to the centre, the right centre, who seems to be panicking here, turning her hips in, which leaves number 5, the wing, isolated. And hence we have a small break there, but the scramble is quite good, to be fair. Now, even there, if you do make a break against the Cutters, be aware that they may overrun the tackle at the back. So when I rewind this tape and have a look, I like to see my fullback stay on the inside shoulder and push the attacker to the touchline. This fullback very nearly overran it, and I don't think that the attacker put on much in terms of footwork. So, Tweed, if you do make a break, make sure you put some footwork on the fullback, test both her shoulders, left and right shoulder, and see how that works for you. Otherwise, Wynnum have just gone 90 metres. Now, if the game continued like this and Wynnum had 50% of possession, it'd be a very, very, very brave person that would bank on Wynnum losing the game by 30 points to 8. But that just shows you how important ball control, how important field position and building pressure is. What a carry there, right from the back there, from the Wynnum number 1, and Mackay are at 6s and 7s defensively again. It's only good control that gets them out of trouble at any point, and some good collisions, but they are jumping off the tackles really quickly. And that suggests to me that if Tweed play at tempo this weekend, it's a tough trip. I was going to say a road trip, but it's probably too far to drive. They're going to have to fly in, but they've got to start the game fast, because if they're tired, if they've left themselves on that aeroplane, metaphorically and mentally, then Mackay have every chance of getting away from them. But conversely, if you can make Mackay chase you in defence, which is what Wynnum are doing a little bit here, and also getting a roll on quite easily, then there are opportunities for you in defence, in the Mackay defence, that is. Here we have a scrum from not too far away from the 30-metre line. Because of poor ball control there from Wynnum, Mackay are able to get themselves on the front foot defensively. But even then, there could have been more ruck control there, and there wasn't. So what that suggests to me is play the game at a little bit of tempo. Word of warning, though, most of Mackay's players are quite fit and look mobile, so it's going to take you a long time to crack them open. So I suggest some early shifts and changes of direction and footwork at the line almost for the majority of the game. I wouldn't try taking them on down the middle and directly, because these are the good collisions that you will cop. And as you can see, the ruck control, the collision and the afterwork there, fantastic from Mackay. Something a little bit laterally here, and because there was some evasion just before the tackle, the Wynnum player landed on their front. So she ran sideways a little bit, but just before she went into the collision, she deviated, and that allowed her to find a front. This is the key for any team, for Tweed this weekend, but any team playing against Mackay. Because if you go front on against them, that's what you're going to end up getting. A shoulder under the ball and a relatively slow ruck. There are chances, though. There are opportunities there. Edge defenders do seem to panic somewhat at times, and at times when they don't need to. Their kick pressure is good too. So give the kickers plenty of time and plenty of protection, won't you, Tweed? Anything direct, good collisions from Mackay. As I keep saying, I must sound like a stuck record with this, but it's true. You go directly at them, they're very good at maximising their time in that area. Where you've got to test them, though, is on these edges. So I've referenced this on the first occasion, which was on the top of the screen, on the Mackay right. This is now on the left. On the edges, they do panic. So if part of your plan when you're playing against Mackay is to do +2 shifts or 2 pass shifts, test the edge of the defence, I think that could pay dividends from you. Get it away from the middle, get it away from direct contact, play to get passive tackles on an edge and quick play the balls, and keep making Mackay chase you, and be patient. You're not going to win this game in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You're going to have to play every minute of the game, because look at the edge defence. They fly out. They sometimes don't stay aligned. This is the second half. So the reason I've pulled these clips out is that you see if there's any trends that survive throughout the game. And already I'm seeing some inconsistency in the second half with collision. That's a bit chesty again, and also one person really on the floor. So if Wynnum were a little bit more potent there, they'd get a quick play the ball. There's that footwork I keep talking to you about. Footwork late at the line, a bit of evasion, and you'll get a quick play the ball. You'll find the front, but you've got to stick to this plan for the duration of the game. You can't expect it to work in 10 minutes and throw it out with the toys out the pram if it doesn't work after 10 minutes. The other thing, of course, you've got to muscle up and make sure that you're defending what Mackay throw at you, but that's a different story again. But this is about scoring points. A lot of their players are diving in to make tackles. A lot of their players end up on the floor when you don't run directly at them. So, again, play football, back yourself with your football, because if you go direct against these, they will deal with it quite well after a while. Most of these have played in a Premiership winning side, so they know what it takes to get them to that grand final again. There's the theory being backed up about the edges. If you can move the ball +1, +2, get the ball to the centres and the wings, you are going to get some joy. Imagine a quick play the ball here instead of going into touch. No matter how good a team is, and no matter how fearsome a team looks on paper or on the video, everybody's got an Achilles heel. And I think the Mackay Achilles heel is defending laterally at times, but also defending on the edges. So a good game plan that provides football, footwork, change of direction, evasion, moving the ball around and sticking to it for the duration of the game. And there's every chance that you'll score points against Mackay. The other side of the coin, though, is you've got to defend the football. And obviously, they're a big, strong side who've been rolling across opposition. You've got to muscle up in D, maybe compress your defence a little bit and back yourself to knock them over when they come over, and keep hitting them, keep knocking them back, keep knocking them back. My name's Lee Addison. That's the first analysis of the year. Traditionally now, we've done the grand final winners each year. Last year, it was the Host Plus Cup. Was our first analysis. We had a look at the North Devils from the year before. This year, slight change, different jerseys, but ultimately these are the Premiership front runners. But hopefully there's a bit of a blueprint there for teams to have a crack at them, and all hope is not lost. When I saw that score line, I could not believe it. Good luck to all girls for the BMD Premiership season this year, and enjoy your Queensland Rugby League, and hopefully you'll be with us all year. Back over to John and Taylor.